Yeah, I understand. Finances, man, they can just headache, man, a pain, right? All this anxiety, all this stress, you know, and financial anxiety is. I mean, you're not alone in that fight, right? In the most basic sense, financial anxiety is worry and fear about your financial situation, right? There was research from the American Psychological Association where it showed that 65% of Americans report money as a significant source of stress, right? That's that's a lot of people being freaked out over their money, right? So you're not alone. If you're currently feeling this sort of stress, just understand there's a bunch of people out there who feel just like you do. Now, there are two types of financial anxieties for most people: everyday financial stress and financial stress that's triggered by an event, right? So, we want to start managing your financial stress. But how do we do that? Because overcoming financial anxiety, it can feel daunting, but you can take steps, right, to start turning things around, including building better money habits. So first, you got to realize that's a process that's going to take time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. You likely won't be able to, you know, really make consistent strides for a little while. So just understand this is not a fix everything in a couple days type of thing, right? But if you consistently move forward in the right direction as much as you can, as often as you can, every day, right? It will make a huge difference. Little bit by little bit, they just build up, right? It's like a snowball. It starts off small, keeps rolling, bigger, 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 right? Huge. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to identify the underlying causes of that stress. Now, a lot of people have different relationships with money, which often unknowingly trigger stress. You may need to dig deeper to get to the source of those anxieties. So, as an instance, the way your parents dealt with money or your experiences with it growing up could still play a role in how you manage your money today. Or maybe you feel like you don't have the financial know-how to make good decisions. If you've lost a job in the past, that experience could affect your behavior around finances today. You could work with a counselor or a therapist, and that may help you find some of the underlying causes of your financial anxiety, which can help you begin to address them. Which is going to lead us to our next one. What is your current financial situation, right? And this part might feel scary, right? But it's hard to develop a plan if you aren't sure exactly even where you're at financially, right? If you don't know your starting point, it's really hard to start. So what we do want to do is start by tracking your spending for maybe like 2 months, right? At least 1 month, but preferably two. And this is going to help you create your baseline budget. Now, you want to also review your debts. Look at your current bank and credit statements to know the amounts you owe. Identify which have high interest rates that's going to help you determine which bills you want to tackle first. Now, how you determine to tackle your debt, whether you have the debt avalanche or the debt snowball, tackle the smallest one first, then go up bigger, 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 or do the really big one and then smaller, smaller, smaller. Whichever you choose to do, right? It's all about finding out where you are now and figuring out which one you want to tackle first. Because the next thing we're going to do now that we know where we're at, we're going to look at those top sources of stress, right? Because now we have a complete picture of your finances after we did that 2 months of tracking your spending, right? So now we're going to be able to identify a few key areas driving most of your stress. Those may be the areas you want to work on first and create a plan around. Then, as you start to handle those top fears, you can continue working down the list. As an example, if you have a lot of anxiety about losing a job, you may want to focus on building that 3 to 6 month emergency fund, right? Having 3 to 6 month worth of expenses saved can help alleviate a lot of those fears about not making enough money if you happen to lose your job, right? So the next thing that we need to do, create a plan, right? Build an action plan. Now, this is going to help you to start feel a little bit better. Sometimes not knowing exactly what to do ends up being a huge source of stress, right? So you might want to start small. Get a monthly budget, stick to it. Then determine how to start managing your debt. Okay, as an example, you may want to start paying down the debt with the highest interest rates, right? That's what we talked about earlier. That's the avalanche method. Or pay off the smallest debt first to get some wins and work your way up to the next smallest, right? That would be the snowball method. Whichever one you choose to do, we want to make a plan and we want to stick to it, right? Stay consistent. So the fifth thing we want to do, now that we figured out what's going on, we got a good picture, we looked at the sources, and then we made a plan. Well, as long as we're acting on that plan, we're putting into progress, we need to track your progress, right? Improving your finances is, for some people, it can be a really long journey, maybe a lifelong process, right? And it can be detailed and consistent, and that's great, but you need to track it, right? Tracking is going to help. It lets you see your progress towards your goals, right? And it serves as a warning sign before things get off track. Maybe, you see yourself going to the gym and you see, your weight fluctuate. It can be the same thing, right? You can see what's happening and make adjustments as need be. Financial stress can overtake your mental health. So, as soon as you start tackling your finances, it's also important to let yourself feel good that you're making progress. When you pay off a bill, improve your credit score, or add to your emergency retirement funds, give yourself a job well done, like celebrate the win, right? You did good, right? So, whichever milestone you hit, celebrate it. And then as you continue working towards your next milestone, celebrate that. The last thing that we need to talk about is financial advisors. Now, I know this is unrealistic for some people, and maybe you can't see a financial advisor right now. But I would recommend speaking with a financial advisor. Because if you aren't sure where to start with your plan, they're going to be able to help you a lot, right? A financial advisor is going to navigate your finances with you, listen to your fears and your short and long-term goals, right? And then once they have a better picture, most of the things that we talked about earlier, once they have a clear picture of your spending habits and stuff like that, they're going to help make that plan for you so that you can get your finances in order. Together, you can work on that action plan, right? And then when you meet with your financial advisor consistently, they can help you stay on track and make any needed adjustments over time, right? So understand, it's okay to have the financial stress, that anxiety. A lot of people do, but you can overcome it. You can get out of debt. You can get yourself on track, make progress towards those goals you have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got a lot out of it. If you did, I'd appreciate you hitting that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But until I see you guys in the next one, y'all be safe.